Loser.
He got me.
I made him.
He tricked me.
I'm such a trickster.
No integrity.
Just like we're tricking all the people by doing this podcast a week before Survivor Series, and technically we're tricking ourselves. We're playing a prank on ourselves because we're gonna film this podcast, and tomorrow is Monday Night Raw, and they're gonna change. They're gonna add matches. Everything's gonna change. So we're playing a trick on ourselves. Welcome to episode 17, we believe, of the Story Continues cast. Been a minute. Last time we were here, we were talking about pre-Crown Jewel. I have a confession that I wanted to get off my chest before we dive into this podcast. I've been keeping up with WWE. I'm very excited for Survivor Series, and we're going to get to the final reason and the final match as to why I'm excited.
Ooh, okay.
But my confession. I still, and probably never will, watch Crown Jewel. I just have to say it. I'm going to put it out there.
Damn.
I've heard mixed reviews. I wanted to watch it. I was busy the day it happened. And then everyone was like, oh, forget about that mess in Saudi Arabia. So I was like, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Now I think I almost forgot about it entirely. First off, the Crown Jewel Championship matches, they were whatever. I mean, I'll say, only thing I'll say about it, you can add on if you want. Cody and Gunther was lights out amazing. Like those are really good, athletic guys who are like wrestling for a cool title. Cool title. But then Liv versus Nia, Liv surprised me, and I think I could be wrong. I know there was some kind of interference or something. I don't know. But what's her face? I'm sorry, she's relegated to what's her face now. She hasn't cashed in yet. She hasn't cashed in yet. Tiffy, she's running out of time. She's gotta hurry. I don't understand. I don't get it. Well, I get it, but like, come on, like, I don't know. But besides the point, other than that, it just, Crown Jewel just was not memorable for me. Besides, no, and the KO and Randy match wasn't even a match. It was canceled because they started brawling outside, and then ugly shit, and now boom, it doesn't. I don't know what to say. Too much to say about it.
Man,
don't watch it.
It was very skippable. I do think maybe I will tune in because now that I think about it, I do actually really want to watch Cody versus Gunther. That's a cool match. I might have to tune in just for that.
One.
But the rest of that pay-per-view, I'm probably still skipping. However, we are now here for the PLE. This is a big one. This is a big podcast, and we are actually on a little bit of a time crunch because, as you can see, my co-host Night Sky, welcome on the episode, by the way.
Of course, thank you.
His t-shirt. It's Sunday. It's football day. We've actually are in a fantasy football league. We're all over it. He's an Eagles fan. He wants to watch the Phillies play tonight. So out of respect for him, the Phillies, the Eagles. I'm with the Eagles. Philly teams suck anyways. They all choke at the end.
Hey,
so they're all the same. They're all the same.
Hey, not true. Eagles are doing great. Everyone else, we won't talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about those 76ers.
Woo! Let's keep moving.
Jason Tatum balling in his league. As I was saying, he has a game to watch tonight. So out of respect, we will try to get this podcast moving along. But the point I'm trying to make is this is one of the big 4 PLEs. This is one that I feel like we've always been talking about all year long. The last time we did a big 4 PLE podcast was SummerSlam back. We did the pre-one towards the end of July, and then Night Sky and I actually watched it together in a hotel room in Buffalo, New York. Watched it. Roman Reigns came back, and I feel like all year long you've been talking about Bloodline Civil War, which we don't want to talk about yet. We're gonna save that for last.
No, yeah.
But it's here. It is this Saturday. This feels like the PLE all year you've been talking about. Like, you're focused on Cody finishing the story, and the second that finished, all eyes all year have been shifted to this looming Bloodline Civil War. The people were right. It's here. We learned some new details, but we can't talk about it just yet because that is our main event. I'm going to stop yapping because it's time to get to our first match. And so far, again, as we said, recording this on Sunday, they might add shit on Monday or Friday. We have 3 total matches. 2 War Game matches, as one we already alluded to, and 1 World Heavyweight Championship match. I think let's talk about the World Heavyweight Championship match. Then we'll talk about the first War Games match. Then maybe we can briefly touch upon maybe what's missing from this PLE. I have seen some rumors about 2 possible matches that might get added. and then we'll talk about the meat, what we're waiting for. So let's start. Gunther, Damian Priest. Damian Priest has won the opportunity to once again challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship. How do you feel about Priest being the challenger, and who do you have for this match?
Well, I'll tell you this. First off, thank you again for having me on the show. I do appreciate it. It's funny because when you look at like how, you know, War Games is, or Survivor Series or whatever, and then they have 2 War Games matches, I feel like if that's the big highlight, you really don't need that much more, honestly. However, usually PLEs go for what, like 3-4 hours, sometimes probably 3 max. There's no way each War Games match is going to take an hour each. I feel like everyone would be dead and tired at that point, so probably a good idea to add on more stuff. But when it comes to the World Heavyweight title match, I do think I actually like the idea of Damian Priest, you know, getting a chance to contend for it again, because obviously when SummerSlam happened, you know, he had interference with his so-called brother Finn Balor, who was a part of the crappy ass Judgment Day at this point, which
Street
has been
trash,
doing nothing. And which, by the way, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I do know that tomorrow something happens with the tag team titles. I'm pretty sure.
I did see rumors of that. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a tournament to determine the #1 contenders. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to overstep, but I know something about that has to happen, because they only have like 1 title defense, and that's ugly. And they don't even wear the titles, which is crazy. So at this point, they're non-existent. But I do think it's cool that he gets another shot or another opportunity. I did think it was crazy that Dominic almost got that chance as well. That would have been crazy, but Dominic versus Gunther would have been so one-sided right out of the gate. So it makes sense to put.
Just getting chopped
I
up.
know. It makes sense to put 2 big burly men at it, and obviously it's a great match in SummerSlam, minus the interference. But I do think if it's a clean match, if no one from anywhere else gets involved, I do think it'll be really good, and I'm excited. Do I want to say my prediction yet, or do we want to save that?
Yes, sir. You can say it.
Okay. I think. Well, I'll tell you what. Just because I know it's only been a couple months since he's gotten the title, I do believe that Gunther should retain. I know I saw some people complaining about, I believe it's like a recent promo, where it looked like Damian was just like going all out against both Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser. And at one point, Gunther looked scared almost. And I'm like, what? Like, that doesn't make sense. There's no way this guy, like, you know, the ring had it all in all his glory. Maybe they just kind of did it just for some, like, show, like, oh shit, he's actually serious about this. But I think Gunther wins either way, just because I think it's still too early to take it away from him, and I want to see some more feuds, especially with some other big superstars who may be coming back, who might be moving forward. I just think that at that point, Gunther should keep it.
Yeah, honestly, I feel you summed this matchup very well and very concisely. So I feel like I don't have too much to add, because we've already seen this match. Obviously, the way that Gunther won the title was by defeating Damian Priest back at was it
SummerSlam? Right?
SummerSlam, yes.
Yeah.
I believe it was at SummerSlam, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so Gunther has already defeated Priest. This is a match we've seen. It feels very much like, not that Priest is stale or like he doesn't have a direction, but it's more just like let's give Gunther another, you know, formidable person to defeat. He's already defeated him. There's a rivalry. It's kind of an easy layup as for, like, you know, give Damian Priest another chance. So I see why the match is happening. I also agree. I think Gunther is retaining. I think Gunther is going to be carrying the title probably into WrestleMania 41, where I'm seeing the earliest rumors that is the direction John Cena would be going. Gunther. So we'll see if that happens. I think Gunther is going to be untouchable until then. They want to give that man a pretty big reign. But it will be interesting to see, and I know I'm completely taking the attention off of this match at Survivor Series, but it will be interesting to see if they really let Gunther lose back-to-back WrestleManias, dropping titles back-to-back WrestleManias. We'll see, but that is for many months ahead. As for this one, yeah, there's just not much for me to add, because again, we've already seen this matchup. It should be solid. I'm sure we're going to get a solid 20-ish minute bout between these two. And it's either going to end with some kind of interference, whether it's Ludwig, if Finn Balor or the Judgment Day are going to continue a feud with Damian Priest in some way. They might be interfering, who knows. But I do see the Ring General walking out with the win. Now, Mista, I lied. I tricked you once again.
Oh, come on. This is unfair.
I said we were going to do the next War Games match and then talk about what's missing. But I actually think it makes a little bit more sense to talk about what's missing before we jump into the 2 War Games matches.
I like
now, you can definitely jump in and whatnot, but I will just mention the 2 matches that I mentioned to you before starting this podcast. It seems like the direction of, if Triple H wants that 5-card match special, these are probably the most 2 logical matches. However, maybe we stick with 3. Maybe we only get 1 match added. Maybe we get 2. Maybe we get 3. Maybe it goes for 6. Who knows? But it does seem like, number 1, the biggest void, the man who won at WrestleMania 40. Whoa! The man we named The Story Continues cast after. Cody Rhodes is not on the match card as of this very moment. Now, who is he involved in a rivalry with? Kevin Owens. Once again, a lot of people are speculating it's going to be Owens, Cody Rhodes at Survivor Series. Randy Orton just got driven. A banned move in WWE. I mean, look, I'm very susceptible to it. I see a damn pile driver every single 5 minutes in AEW. But in WWE, that is a forsaken move. So they are really going all out with this. Kevin Owens has, like, been so hurt that these guys have, you know, teamed with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. He's like, no, the Bloodline's my mortal enemies. He's gone crazy. So I do see this feud kind of having a culmination once again at Survivor Series. Maybe Randy comes back. Maybe Randy is not coming back to the Royal Rumble. Who knows? That's one strong, bold prediction to be added to the match card. The other was a Intercontinental Championship match. Now, obviously, both mid-card titles are void from this match card so far. So if you wanted to speak on a possible LA Knight match, feel free. But a lot of people are speculating that's going to be Braun Breaker and Sheamus. That is kind of the speculation right now. But again, just speculation. Nothing is official. If a match is to get added, it would be tomorrow, Monday Night Raw, which by the time you're watching this podcast, we may have already known. However, those are the speculations. How do you feel, Mista? And are there any voids that I didn't mention that you would like to see added?
Well, no, I think you covered it up pretty well. I know having a PLE without Cody at this point would definitely be a bit alarming. And I know I'll say this too. I see it all the time, especially on social medias. There's still a huge amount of hate for Cody being the babyface right now. People still believe that Roman is better than him either way. I mean, and there are people who are, saying like, okay, no, we respect the title change and all that. But there's still some people who just say he doesn't deserve it. Now, what this will show is that if he is put in this event, obviously he won't be main event because that's what, the big stuff we'll talk about. But that definitely kind of, I'm not saying it says something about their current positions, but I mean, to like the average viewer, you're probably thinking like, well, wait a second, why isn't the champion headlining this event or something, right? And I think for whatever reason it is, I just think we have to just kind of, because it's all building up. That's the big thing about this too. But just because something isn't happening at a certain event or a certain PLE or a certain week or a certain show, it doesn't mean it's not happening entirely. Because it's always about story building, from what I've learned for being a fan. For it's still been less than a year, which is crazy. But learn and watching and all of this and seeing what people are saying, an L will end up somewhere. That's the biggest thing. In terms of stuff that's kind of being left out right now, I could see the Intercontinental title being another match added in. I think there's nothing really going on with the U.S. title right now because I know LA Knight just finished off his whole thing with Andrade and Carmelo. I know there was something with I keep forgetting his name because he's not that memorable. he's like the part of that family faction or something. Santos Escobar. That's who it is. See, exactly, right? I'm sorry to say it, but that's just not hanging anything for me. Oh, wait, actually, I did lie because one of the things we can talk about is someone who made his return after such a long time, and that is Shinsuke Nakamura. Beautiful. First off, I'm so happy he's back. He looks crazy. He looks like a ghost. I know that's what people are calling him now. I do think that feud is a bit too new to put into Survivor Series. Maybe it could be something saved on if they want to do it for Saturday's main event. They could do something cool with that, or maybe even later down the line where it just builds up somewhere else for next year too. Who knows? Maybe the Royal Rumble. So I do think it's a little bit early for that, but I'm glad he's back in. In terms of like anything else, because I know they just introduced the Women's United States Championship, and they're having a contest or tournament to determine the contenders for it. I also think it might be a bit too soon to have that in. It would be kind of cool if they did, because I know Chelsea Green is actually one of the finalists for the Fatal 3-Way, which I think is really cool. So it'd be cool if actually she won that title. But besides that, I really don't know what else they could add. And I think that's obviously, like, my co-host here said, they'll probably determine a bunch of stuff tomorrow. And maybe even to, like, last minute, they could do something on SmackDown and be like, oh, hey, by the way, this is also coming. It's like a last minute bonus thing. But I do think it's definitely a little bit empty compared to what we had before. But we shall see. That's all I can really have about it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I do think these next two matches we're going to be talking about are going to take up a lot of time, possibly up to like an hour each, at least I'd say 30 to 40 minutes each. Just the way that the match goes, the literal match rules is like you need 5 minutes to pass before the next person can enter. Like it takes a while. It's almost like a Royal Rumble, But yeah, those are some good voids. Obviously, Shinsuke's back. That could always make it on. I mean, obviously, we had mentioned how the Raw Tag Team division is completely vacant and empty and forgotten. But don't forget the Motor City Machine Guns are the SmackDown Tag Team champs.
Cooking.
They could always have their first ever WWE PLE appearance. I think that would be cool. They have enough, notoriety to actually garner a tag team match on a PLE. But it definitely seems like in terms of this specific PLE Survivor Series, probably not getting much else other than likely a Cody Rhodes match and maybe one more. But yeah, I think the point you also made about Cody is very interesting. Like, yeah, that's how it goes with baby faces. They're always gonna get turned on, and especially where Roman just has such a following, where like a literal tribalistic following. Yeah, they're gonna turn on everyone, especially Cody. Cody, who kind of just swooped into WWE, was just pushed from the get-go. Yeah, we'll see. But I think no matter what, the other thing I noticed is the way that he was interacting. I think it was with Carmelo Hayes or someone backstage. Someone was like, Cody's starting to act like a heel. I'm like,
Oh, it's Carmelo, yeah.
I think it was Carmelo. I was like, I don't know about all that. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of like a Homelander tease, but I don't see us getting a heel Cody. But I think it will come down to, at the end of the day, who do you value more in the grand scheme of things as a babyface? Roman right now is a babyface. A corrupt babyface at that, like a troubled babyface, I think is the word. And then Cody is the babyface, but where they're both on SmackDown, there's not enough room for both of them. Just like that one promo where Roman said, "You're in my way in life." They are just in each other's way right now, and it's clear with the fan base, Roman is winning. He definitely gets the popular vote. If this was a presidential election, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, I think Roman Reigns is gonna get the popular vote. My ass would be voting for Cody all day and night, but I do think Roman just has the numbers. So obviously the rumor is that with Netflix, maybe Roman heads over to Raw, maybe Cody heads over to Raw, maybe they split them up. We'll see how that all goes next year. But yeah, it does seem that is the major void. No Cody on the show. But Mista, again, as I said, we got the Eagles game to try to catch.
Yeah, we gotta speed it up.
And I've got some fantasy players in that game, so I'm also trying to monitor it.
It's true. You should give me one of them.
True. I think it's time. I think it's time to talk about the two War Game matches. Now, this first one is very different from the second, because the second one, obviously, this has been built up to forever. There are just storylines. There is just bad blood. But this first one feels a little mashed together. There's not one major storyline creating this match, but rather like 6 different mini storylines going on, meshed together in one. As it is the returning Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, question mark. Because she has 8,000 injuries, a torn glute, a strained eye, a broken elbow, a pulled wig, you name it. Naomi and Io Sky versus the champion Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, other champion Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and randomly Candice LeRae. Now this is a War Games match, 5-on-5. We know how it goes. One by one they will enter. Well, it'll start with one and one up from each side. Then one by one they will start to enter. Once all wrestlers are in the ring, the match officially begins after a lot of damage has already taken place. How are you feeling about this? Who you got winning the women's War Game match at Survivor Series?
Well, right off the bat, this feels very like baby faces versus heels almost in a way. And I think no team on either side really makes any sense in the grand scheme of things. I like how you said there's a bunch of like mini storylines kind of going on, which ultimately, like, I think it could really go either way. It would be really interesting to see the heels win just because there's very like different dynamics compared to the baby faces. Especially now with Jade being questionable to return. It makes you think who the heck is going to take their spot. I have heard rumors that it could be, of course, the role model Bailey once again, but that'd be really interesting and that'd be kind of a bit confusing, especially if she's teaming up with Io. So, that could mean a lot of things, especially also if Io is teaming up with them. What does that mean for the rest of damage control as well? So that could lead to something too. That could be a storyline that goes with that. Obviously with Liv and Rhea, that's a whole thing. You got the same kind of like the feud that carried over from Crown Jewel is kind of going into this, so I could kind of see that. Meanwhile, with Jade and Bianca, not really anything sticks out for why they kind of... Oh, and Naomi. Well, actually, that makes sense because Naomi is also part of the feud that goes on with Tiffany and Nia Jax. So that makes sense why they're kind of adding on. But yeah, like I said, I really don't know who could win. I would probably have to give it to the baby faces only because they did have Jade. But now if Jade is out of the question, could slightly shift over towards the heels. But I do think that the baby faces will still win.
Yeah, I mean, I do see this one going either way. It would be an interesting dynamic. I thought I was cooking when I said Tiffany Stratton was going to cash in a crown jewel, win all the belts.
I thought you were too. That would have been wild.
Could be a cool dynamic if she found a way to cash in like during the War Games match or something. That would be cool. I do think there's more at play with the heels, primarily because of the fact that Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax are in this match. Maybe Tiffany says, fuck it, we ball, and she cashes in on Liv Morgan. I don't know. Who knows? But I do think there's just too much at play with the, Money in the Bank storyline that, I think my prediction would go towards the baby faces, especially with the second match, War Games match. Maybe I'm leaning toward the heels. We'll see. But I do think, maybe in a sense that whoever wins this match gives you the stronger prediction for who's going to win the second War Games match. I feel like there's going to be a night where, like, if one babyface team wins, the other babyface team is losing. It doesn't feel like we're getting a double babyface win. Maybe we are, and I'm just delusional.
Yeah,
but that's my
guess.
guess.
About that, yeah.
So I'm gonna say the babyfaces win this one, just out of a happy hoorah victory. It is again just a weird, odd mixture of storylines in one, and at the end of the day, it's more to just be able to showcase the women and give them a War Games match, highlight-worthy moments, very well deserved. Yet it's just not as blended as the men's War Games match. Maybe we just see Rhea Ripley like go on a tear. That's how she gets the win. Maybe it is Bailey in there and she comes back as the heroic hero and she gets the win. Especially with the champs being on the heel side, they can take a loss. They'll be okay. Yeah. I do think that the faces are gonna win, and it will be interesting to see if Jade actually will fight with her 8,000 injuries, or if someone like Bailey or you name it, insert name, does.
Yeah, I don't know who else could really go in at this point. Yeah, that's the thing.
Exactly. It's gotta be Bailey. I mean, especially with the storylines, like it just feels like it would be her. But all right, Mista, I think it's time. Woo. I've been waiting to talk about this specific match for
my gosh,
months. We've been hinting at it.
First off, can I at least insert real quick here? First off, what a fake out, because we gotta talk about it, because when we'll say specifics, but first off, I like how this matchup is looking. Not just from it's been building up forever, but just because of the brand new implications and because of what's actually cooking in the background, if you will. And because of that, this introduced so many new storylines, and obviously, well, one, I will say this too, I am glad that Cody is not a part of this. As much as we were saying how, Cody, still gets the hate for all this stuff, I am glad he is not a part of this, because one, I don't think he has much tether with the bloodline as much as he used to anyway. I think SummerSlam and even like what else? Bad Blood. I think that basically just kind of put that to a halt. Because if you remember, or if you saw a clip, before they grabbed their other fifth partner, the Bloodline was just chilling in Roman. And then I think it was Jay said, what about Cody? We can call him up. And then Roman says, Cody? That's old news. And I'm like, and he's right though, because it wouldn't really make sense. It really doesn't. And it's good. I'm glad that he's able to kind of focus all on the stuff going on with Kevin Owens, and potentially when Randy comes back, that's a whole thing that they can do apart from the bloodline. But I like how there is still lingering effects of the bloodline in that feud too. So I think that's as much of a reasonable amount for Cody to be involved with what's going on there. But I just like how this is forming, and I'll let you go ahead and talk about it because we have a lot to say about it, and it's so cool.
Hell yeah. I mean, yeah, you beat me to it. I do think that the execution, the way that things went about, which we'll talk about, was just so cinema, man. And for years, since COVID, that has been the essence of the bloodline, especially the OG bloodline. It's always been just cinema. WWE had found a way with Roman Reigns as the absolute poster boy and forerunner, as the champ for however long he was champ, to just find ways to make captivating stories. And like, it's back. And at the end of the day, you do have all of them being launched into their own, I guess, worlds. Primarily Jey Uso literally going on to become a top star over on Raw. Yet when they come back together, it also just feels right. You just are like, man, this takes me back. This takes me back to COVID. This takes me back to 2021, 2022, 2023, when they were just ravaging WWE, the bloodline. It's time. I feel like I said, for months, for weeks, you can go back these past 16, 17 episodes. I feel like every single episode after WrestleMania 40, you would find hints of us saying Survivor Series, Bloodline Civil War, Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, The Rock, which we'll touch upon at the end. It's here. It's finally here, and we can finally just focus on this match and pick it apart and say how we feel. It's time, guys. It's time for Bloodline Civil War, the match everyone is tuning into Survivor Series for, the match that has been plastered on all the promo. I sent Night Sky in the DMs like this fire art of the War Games. Like, just everyone's hyped up for this shit. And of course, for obvious reasons, infamous Tonga Loa is fighting in the War Games.
Yeah!
Let's go. Let's freaking go. Nah, but for real, I'll let you take it. If you want to start laying down the foundation of how this came to be, who is a part of it, how they deceived us, and how it's going to lead to a separate feud, presumably, with the man that was entered in the match, the man that was snubbed from the match. Just cinema all around. And obviously, again, as someone who's been watching for a while, to see yet another Paul Heyman guy work his way in, and the way it was worked in, cinema. I'll stop talking though. Floor is yours.
Cinema. So how about this? I have an idea. So what if I talk about one of the teams and you talk about the other? I think I can talk about the new bloodline specifically, and then you can talk about the OG bloodline plus the new addition of the Paul Heyman guy. But so real quick, so I'll cover the new bloodline here. I'll tell you what, and I said this, I think I said it in Crown Jewel, Solo has grown on me so much, man. He's great on it's development. He's growing to the mic. He, wrestling, he's got some real good moves. He's getting better. And I just love his character now. And it's crazy because I remember exactly, I think it was like it might have been before SummerSlam or something else along those lines where I was just like, dude, Solo has no aura. This is terrible. There's no pop. There's no nothing going on here. Now all of a sudden he got me humming along to his theme. He's taking it all because that's what he's going to do all night. He's got going on. He's got both the Tongans with him too, and Jacob Fatu, who loves Solo so much. And now with the addition of big Bronson Reed. Now that's something I didn't expect. And honestly, when they first showed that, I was like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, come on, man. Like, we had a whole storyline going of why Seth wouldn't join with the other bloodline. And all of a sudden, you see Bronson Reed come in. I'm like, dude, there's no way. But I'll let you finish that in a second. However, I do think Bronson Reed fits really well with the new bloodline. It's actually kind of crazy. I know he's Australian and they're all Samoan, but he looks like he fits in with them. Not just for like appearance-wise, but like strength-wise. Him and Jacob Fatu are like the big muscle of the group. You got both the Tongans who are, basically the right-hand man doing all the dirty work, if you will. And then you got Solo right there in the middle with the Ulafala right there. I was just close to it. And he looks like a boss. He looks like not a final boss, but he looks like a boss. And I think it's cool that is the team dynamic. I'm interested to see how it's going to go down in more games, because I know they had technically one-ish match together. And just the chemistry that was within all of them, especially with Bronson Reed and with Jacob Fatu, I do think it was cool to see. So I'm interested to see how it's going to go down. And I do like how they are just like, hey, all we want is just Roman. We want you to acknowledge us. That's all we want. It doesn't matter if we win or lose, whatever. We just want you to acknowledge us. But it's gotten to this point where we are now at Civil War. But who is this other team that they're going to fight against?
Yes, you have explained the new Bloodline. You took the words right out of my mouth. I do think that new Bloodline is finally, like, in recent weeks, clicking for not only us, but just the WWE Universe. Solo, Sikoa, absolute hats off. I always told you all that I've been a Solo Sikoa fan. It just sucks that like it wasn't clicking, but now it's clicking. Now everyone's on board. However, they are fighting the OG Bloodline, and as I said, another Paul Heyman guy, someone that I watched for his historic title reign of his own back in the day when he was the Paul Heyman guy, CM Punk. And the way they execute this, and what I was alluding to earlier is, you mentioned it, I alluded to it, Seth Rollins was seemingly gonna get easily placed into this match. It made sense. He had his former Shield with Roman Reigns. He has the feud with Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed gets inserted. Of course Seth Rollins is going to get inserted to this match. But then, after all this hardship, Sami Zayn, the Usos, the reunited Usos.
What about Sammy? Whoops.
After Sammy, the Usos, Roman, they cannot figure out who their fifth member should be. They're out there. It's 4-on-5. And you hear, ladies and gentlemen, and the crowd pops. The wise man is back. The wise man is back. And he's not depressed anymore. He got some sleep. He got some sleep. Good for you, Paul Heyman. He comes out.
Tan.
Yeah, he did get a tan. He definitely was hitting MJF spray bottles. That's for sure. Because that was a bad spray tan, Mr. Paul. But anyways, he comes out and he says he's got a fifth man. And obviously, rumors, Twitter world, they're thinking it's the Forsaken Brock Lesnar, the Forsaken Paul Heyman guy. No, wrong. Stop saying his name. Stop saying his name in the big 2024. Brock Lesnar is gone. He's long gone. It was not Brock Lesnar. And then for those, if you know, another Paul Heyman guy was Curtis Axel back in the day. It is not that guy either. It is not him. He's a loser. He's a bum. The man he brought out was none other than CM Punk, the man that Paul Heyman rode with since the ECW days, but more importantly during CM Punk's long reign as WWE Champion. That, ironically, was ended by The Rock. Take that as you will. But
Cinema.
He brings out CM Punk. CM Punk now is inserted into the Bloodline story, which a lot of people are like, this makes no sense. Why is CM Punk in it? However, I did see a Twitter clip of 2 instances where CM Punk was almost alluding that Paul Heyman knew he was going to end up picking CM Punk all along. When CM Punk first arrived, I forget what he had said. He either had mentioned Roman Reigns. He was like, I acknowledge you, blah, 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 blah. That was the first Easter egg of sorts. But the second was when Paul Heyman wanted a favor. He said he had 2 favors he was going to ask CM Punk. One was that he took him with him to escape Solo Sikoa. But they never really mentioned what the other favor was. Maybe this is CM Punk finally cashing in on that favor for his Paul Heyman as a Paul Heyman guy. Interesting lore. Maybe people are looking too far into it. But if you want to connect the dots and have a little bit of logic, that is what was presented. However, what really kind of ties this all is now, as we're probably going to find out tomorrow, Seth Rollins will be irate. Obviously, Seth Rollins was supposed to face CM Punk at WrestleMania 40 last year. Punk was injured, ended up fighting Drew McIntyre. McIntyre wins, etc., etc. Priest gets the title. The rest is history. Now, obviously, the plan seemed to be finally Punk Rollins inevitably.
Ooh.
This now gives Rollins the absolute fuel to despise Punk. He's teaming with Roman Reigns, the man that he didn't want to team with. He took the spot that was offered to Seth Rollins. This is just fuel for the fire. This fire burns. And yeah, I'm very excited to see how this OG Bloodline with CM Punk fares against the new Bloodline with Big Bronson Reed. I think it's time. What is the prediction? And I do just want to say this. This feels very unpredictable. Maybe you feel differently, but it could go either way.
I agree with you because I think both sides have a good case for winning. It would be really interesting to see if I'll tell you what. So how about this? If the new or OG Bloodline wins, established dominances, maybe Roman gets the Ula Fala back. I think because he's been alluding to it for so long, he keeps holding it in his hand. It gets knocked out by infamous Tongaloa, and then it starts going crazy, starts losing it, all that type of shit. So it would be cool to see him win it back. However, if the new Bloodline does win, I think it's like ultimately wraps, not ultimately wraps, but just like, damn, like you bring in someone like CM Punk, you bring back the entire regular Bloodline, and you still lose to Temu Bloodline. That's crazy. So what I do think, maybe you said it's kind of undecided. I think it's a little undecided, but I do think because in long-term storytelling, I think the OG Bloodline wins, and someone comes back and says, "You fucked it up." That's all I'll say for now. So go ahead, your turn again. What do you think?
Yes, I do like that theory, and in my gut, I have a feeling that's gonna happen. However, to play devil's advocate, we should see all sides, all possibilities.
Of course.
So, to play devil's advocate, if, I alluded earlier that if the babyface team for the women's win, I just have this weird sense that maybe the Temu Bloodline does win. Now, at Crown Jewel, in the 6-man tag, it was actually the new Bloodline that got the win. WWE logic, wrestling logic. Oh, well, if they won last PLE, then new Bloodline's winning this PLE. Old Bloodline's winning this PLE. Hear me out. To play devil's advocate, you got Solo Sikoa clicking with the fans. You got Jacob Fatu still a monster. Big Bronson Reed, you've been building up to be the big guy. Obviously, you have the Tongas still around. You know what I'm saying? So you have these guys starting to really pick up momentum, really starting to. It felt like earlier on when like Roman Reigns and the Usos were around, you're like, when these guys stand next to the new Bloodline, it's not even gonna be like believable. Like they're just gonna run through them. You're starting to believe a little bit. You're starting to believe in the new Bloodline. You are starting to believe that this is a 50-50 fight. Maybe they don't want to destroy that momentum. Maybe they do want Solo to keep running ship. Maybe they will give the new Bloodline the win. Theories. Maybe Seth Rollins is interfering. Maybe Seth Rollins costs CM Punk or removes CM Punk from the match, thus giving the OG Bloodline a disadvantage. What about Sami Zayn? Sami was acting a little suspicious with the whole talking to both sides. Talk to Solo Sikoa. I've seen the reading into deep theories that Sami Zayn has been acting a little weird and whatnot. Maybe not. Maybe the mythical man returns during the match. And maybe he plays a role to interfere, screw Roman Reigns over, set up a long-term feud. There are some scenarios where I do see the new Bloodline winning, which is why I'm saying it's unpredictable. However, in my gut, I feel like the scenario that Nice Guy has presented seems the most logical because, let's say his name, the final boss, The Rock.
Fuck that.
Get up, boy. The man.
Look at you now.
Himself. Moana 2.
Woo! Little dance. Hey.
What can I say except you're welcome?
First off, that bodysuit looks so
crazy
noticeable on him. 100%. If The Rock with long hair doesn't make sense, I don't understand.
It's back to the Scorpion King days.
That's right. Oh god. Actually, he comes out in the Maui suit. That'd be too funny, but I doubt it. But yes, The Rock. I think, like I said to you in my prediction, I think this all ultimately leads to The Rock. Maybe not as much as the interference. Hopefully more than what he just did at Bad Blood. The fucking walking out. Or sorry, 3, 2, 1, and like walks out, hits the music, cuts a backstage promo on IG Live.
And he goes off to the Moana 2 premiere.
Right? Yeah, whatever the hell that was. I do think he comes back and says something along the lines of that. However, here's the thing, because it's really confusing, and obviously, maybe I'm looking at this a bit more than I should. If you remember the Raw after Mania, Rock said when he comes back, he said, "I'm coming back for Cody's championship. Even if he is still champion or not, he's coming back for it." So does this mean that if he is fully back, does he go straight for Roman and whatever the orchestrating thing he's got going on, or does he go for Cody? Because what I'm thinking is I think Cody's feud with KO and then the potential insert of Randy Orton again for however that goes down, I think that carries until Mania. I think that probably will close out the year and start us off and maybe lead to some like big title match if Randy versus Cody, because I know we talked about this a couple times too. So I think that is what happens. And especially with John Cena being inserted, who was he going to fight? Is he going to face Gunther? Is he going to face, who, if there is a new World Heavyweight Championship or champion? And then ultimately that kind of leaves Roman with no one really to fight at that point. So I do think that Rock will probably go for Roman either way. But it's interesting to see how the preference works, because at that point, more of fuel to the fire for the people saying Roman's got the biggest pull right now. So much so where he's bringing back the final boss for that actual match, the one that, got so many people mad last year at WrestleMania 40. I remember that was ultimately what led to your decision on whether or not you were going to come to WrestleMania 40. Because if it was Rock versus Roman, do you think you would have come either way?
No. I was there to finish the story.
Exactly. And I think that also tells a lot to it, because a lot of people still want that match to happen. And I think it will happen. WrestleMania 41 is probably the place it will. But in order for something like that to get kick-started off properly, we need a good segue into that. So I think because of that, Rock will still go for whatever's happening with the Bloodlines right now currently. And I think it'll be awesome when he does, because you'll see the true might of the final boss. Look at you now. Look at you now, boy.
Hell yeah. And I love just like the spider web of shit that can, come out from this. Because like you said, the reason why, in a sense, to play devil's advocate and to go against the popular vote, the reason why it did a little bit make sense for Cody to be implemented in this match was literally all because of The Rock. Cody and Roman, it has kind of ran its course. They had the whole tag team. It was awesome, and it's over. It's over. We had it at Bad Blood. Cody has, very much become very, what's the word? Busy, I guess, with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Everybody wants Cody versus Randy. Like, that's playing its course. Like, let that be the focus. But we can't overlook the fact of the story that The Rock is set on Cody Rhodes ultimately. He's set on the championship. He gave Cody a gift. Like, that story isn't gonna just disappear. That's gonna come back into play eventually. Maybe a solution is Cody, Rock, Roman, WrestleMania. We'll see how people think about that. We'll see if that's even a possibility. I don't know. But I do think you make up a good point. With Cody being busy and then Cena coming back and all these other people, what happens to Roman? Well, you have the match that got canceled at WrestleMania 40, Rock versus Roman. Now, I do feel like again, this is why in my gut, I feel like the OG Bloodline's going to win, just so you can have the hoorah, yay, the OG Bloodline came back together, they got to win, and now The Rock is pissed, because at the end of the day, Solo said this is all part of the plan. Like, you do assume that The Rock is the true tribal chief, final boss of the new Bloodline. And I do think it's just going to be interesting to see if and likely when he comes out, if he says anything, what actions are taken, and just, the fallout. Again, the fallout. I think especially as a big Cody Rhodes fan, it's going to be very interesting to see how that inevitably gets worked back in. But for Bloodline Civil War, this is it. It feels very much like a huge culmination, a climax of the Bloodline story. And then we're entering like a whole new world, because I feel like this is when the final boss is going to resurge. He already did his Red Christmas movie. It flopped. He already did Moana 2. It's premiering. Like, it feels like Rock kind of got his movies out of the way. He said goodbye to Cody. He said, I'll be back. He did his Hollywood shit. Like, it's just about time for the final boss to come back to WWE, start the build towards WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. I personally think it's Rock Roman WrestleMania 41. Kind of to complete the Bloodline Civil War. If Roman can get the win over the new Bloodline tonight, his last obstacle, to maybe getting back to the status where he can regain the championship is to overcome The Rock, the man who is kind of just, as the board of TKO, he's saying, I'm going to get a championship match. I'm coming for you, Cody Rhodes. Roman needs to beat that man to prove that no. I'm still top dog. I am the
top
head
dog
of the table.
Big dog.
So yeah, with my gut, like I said, I think OG Bloodline gets the dub. However, I do see it going either way. I do think The Rock will have a very big part of this, was why I sent you the art. It had Rock in the background. Everybody seems to know that Bloodline Civil War has the final boss looming over it. And this is hands down probably the biggest match of the year since Roman versus Cody, I think. At least in WWE standards. It just feels like, again, like we have been building and speculating about Bloodline Civil War. Any closing remarks on Survivor Series, Mista? Otherwise, I think we're just about ready in time for the Eagles game.
Woo! I can't believe he's saying that. Go Eagles! Woohoo!
Cry, Eagles, cry.
Hey, be nice to me. Be nice to me. Eagles gonna do nice tonight. I hope so. I really hope so. We shall see. But anything else to really say about it? I do think, I agree with you. And like, this is definitely going to be a story-changing PLE, 100%. I think all the matches we have so far, and the ones that will get added on most likely, will definitely have big, effects on however the rest of the year goes. Besides that, there is no other PLE, I think, this year besides... Well, Saturday night's main event isn't really a PLE. It's more so just like a special in December. But besides that, I think that this is pretty much it for the year. We're getting towards December, end of 2024. Next year, obviously, we got a lot to look forward to, especially in WrestleMania, especially the Royal Rumble, especially at the 2-night SummerSlam, first time ever, as well as the farewell tour for Mr. John Cena. Oh, so much can happen. But no, I'm excited. I'm very excited, and I hope you guys are as well. Survivor Series War Games is going to be fun as hell. And yeah, that's all I got to say tonight, Mista.
Hell yeah. Well, folks, with that, we again believe it's episode 17. Don't quote me on that, but we believe it's episode 17. Should have checked before this, but I have a feeling. I do believe that last episode was 16. I feel like I said that multiple times. So, presumably, for episode 17, talking about Survivor Series War Games, enjoy. I know I said I didn't watch Crown Jewel, but this PLE, this Survivor Series, feels like one that I cannot skip. Will I watch it on time? That's to be determined. Will I watch it 100%? Or at least just the Bloodline Civil War match. You gotta watch it. It's gonna be cinema. So with that being said, thank you to Night Sky for once again joining. I think you've done endless episodes at this point. It's practically your podcast too. The story continues. Okay. Well, we'll see if Cody gets added. We'll see what parts or if any effect the final boss has on Survivor Series, the Bloodline story, Roman Reigns, maybe even Cody Rhodes. We'll see. And we'll see which Bloodline, OG or Temu, gets the win. It's gonna be a hell of an entertaining main event. CM Punk is involved. Will Seth Rollins interfere? Will The Rock interfere? Will The Rock appear? We will see in just six days time. It's Saturday. I think earlier I had alluded that we're a week out, but I think I was lying. We're actually 6 days out from Survivor Series, if I'm not mistaken. So enjoy the show. Enjoy your wrestling as always. Hope your story continues. And with that being said, Matt RDK signing out. Night Sky signing out. Let's watch some football. Let's watch some wrestling. Let's watch some Raw, some SmackDown. Maybe even a hint of AEW. They just had a PLE the other night, full gear. Maybe.
Bring the boom.
Bring the boom. And yeah, it's time for Bloodline Civil War, guys. It feels good to say that. And the next time we do a podcast, will finally be an episode where the Bloodline Civil War is behind us. We would have known who won the war, and we'll now see what creative direction WWE has taken from there. So until the next one, maybe it's a post-Survivor Series podcast. Maybe it'll be a special one for Saturday night's main event. Maybe it'll be whatever December holds. A Christmas episode, who knows? We will see you in episode 18. Hope your story continues, as I almost choke on my own words. Peace out. Play some football. Watch some graps, some real graps. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Woo.
Out. Do.